Peace, brothers and sisters who have arrived here on this channel. Some information that I just discovered here about this cover that you are seeing here is amazing, and it leads even more to this September to be the last month of the church on earth. It's simply amazing what all our brothers and sisters around the internet are discovering about this time frame that we are listening here and watching, because it really seems like we're about to leave this earth on this next new moon, which will be spotted in Jerusalem, Israel, around the 18th and 19th of September. So we are really excited about all the information being discovered and being revealed for us at this late hour. So we have ahead of us a really high watch date to expect the rapture of the church, and I will present you guys even more confirmations about it. However, before I start talking about this, I really felt led in my spirit to come here and uh, say to you guys, most of my audience here, people that watch my videos, about this situation. You that are a Bible believer, you are either believing in the Bible, or you are either believing in their narrative, the narrative of those that control this world, the narrative of the unbelievers. There are just two stories here, and you're either believing in one or the other. For a clear example, what does the Bible say about human creation? The Bible say that Adam was created by God about 6,000 years ago out of the dust of the ground. So we humans came to be, came to existence with a creation by God out of the dust of the ground. That's what the Bible tells us plainly in Genesis. That's what we should believe and should enforce, because that's the reality of our lives, of our existence. However, they have a counterpoint to this situation, another way to say how humans were created. And their narrative is that humans evolved from cells all the way into mammals, and all the way from monkeys to men. So in billions of years of Earth, humans and cells evolved to a point that humans existed today. So that's their narrative in counterpoint to the Bible. So you can clearly see that there's two stories being told here for the majority of people on earth. The majority of people on earth unfortunately believe on their narrative, and they believe that they evolved from monkeys. However, we that are Bible believers, we know that we were created by God, by a loving creator, out of the dust of the ground, and he breathed his life unto us. So we are alive because he gave us the breath of life. So you can clearly see that there's a Bible story and there's a narrative story. There is truth and there is lies. What else can I put in this chart here for you guys? So the truth is that fallen angels are demonic entities. What I mean by this is that fallen angels are angels that were from God and they rebelled, and then they came to earth, and on the earth they created massive problems on earth for the humans. So they created hybrids, they tried to corrupt every flesh on earth. The whole flood history is because of these fallen angels coming to earth and changing the DNA of humans, changing the DNA of mammals, changing the creation as it were in the times before the flood. So these fallen angels, they are responsible for creating demonic spirits that are right now very well known by many religions of the world that deal with spiritual entities. Those are disembodied spirits of those hybrids that were created by the fallen angels. So fallen angels, they are demonic entities. They are not our they are not here to help us. They're not here to guide us. They are here to destroy us. And exactly in counterpoint to the truth, there's the lie that is very acceptable nowadays, especially nowadays, because they are telling this lie that aliens are guiding man's evolution. So there are many different breeds of aliens in their narrative that are guiding man's evolution, that are leading man towards a higher evolution, a higher self. So there are many channels on YouTube, many people around the world that are deeply believing that there are aliens, and they are guiding people, guiding men towards a better evolution of themselves, towards a higher self, towards a next phase of creation. So this is a big, huge lie that is being is being completely disseminated towards the humans today, and you can only believe one or the other. Either you believe the truth, that is a biblical truth, or you believe the lie, which is their narrative. So again, there are the Bible or the narrative, and based on this, I must say the creation from Genesis for you guys, so you guys can perceive and see how God created the place that we live. So Genesis 1, you just need to read it, which goes like this. God was going around the waters, the primordial waters. His spirit was going around the primordial waters. He created light and he created the darkness. And then he created on day 2 the vault of heaven, a firmament, a solid thing that separates the waters from above from the waters below. And this firmament is called rakia. Rakia, which is a solid thing. Let me show you guys here quickly on Genesis. So Genesis 1, he created a firmament in the midst of the water to divide the waters from above from the waters from below. And the world is rakia. An extended surface expands. Raka. If you read here, it is as if beaten out, solid, an expanse that is solid, a flat expanse as if of ice. Very interesting key here for you to understand. The gloss compared to Ezekiel, it is the vault of heaven, the firmament, regarded by Hebrews as solid and supporting waters above it. So a solid construction that he did, and he called it the firmament. And from this point, he then drew and brought forth the land masses that came to be in this scenario here. And then on the fourth day, only on the fourth day after the land masses were there, that's when he created the luminaries, the sun, moon, and also the stars, which are those that goes around the earth, showing here the light, the day and the night, separating the day from the night. And if you keep on going, you see that above this earth there is heaven, which is a celestial city from God that sits above earth. Under the earth, you can read in Job that has pillars to sustain this earth, which is God's footstool, and it's also it takes shape on Job 28:14. It takes shape as a clay under a seal. That's why it is like this. It has pillars, and under the earth there is something called hell, which is the place called Sheol for the Hebrews, which has fire in there. That's the place where the lake of fire will be, where the demons will be in the end. So that's the creation according to the biblical point of view. You cannot go away from this, otherwise you're not believing the Bible, but you are believing their narrative. What is their narrative that counterpoints this biblical narrative? Well, you can clearly see that all of the churches, all of the religions, Hebrews that wrote the Bible thousands of years ago, they all believed in this scenario here, the biblical narrative of the creation. However, about 500 years ago, a guy that is a Masonic guy called Copernicus, he invented a new way to look into creation. And this new way of looking into creation is their narrative now, that is mainstream now. So most of you guys, unfortunately, still believe on the mainstream media, which portrays the creation as like this. We are living in a ball that is it's going around a solar ball, which is huge, much bigger than the Earth. And this solar ball is not stopped. It is also shooting through space at about 500,000 kilometers or miles per hour. And the Earth is following this ball of fire with all of these movements, although the stars that we see for thousands of years are the same, in the exact same place. But all of this started because of a huge explosion, which they call the Big Bang. So you can clearly see that there are 2 points of view here. One is their narrative of creation. One is our belief in the Bible, in biblical creation. You cannot believe some points in one or some points in the other. Otherwise, you are not completely full on or consistent in one or the other. So they could not discredit Jesus' testimony because people would die for that. But what they could do though is change how you see the creation, because if they discredit Genesis, then in turn, eventually with a couple generations, they will eventually discredit the whole Bible. And if they discredit the Bible, the creation from the Bible, they would eventually discredit the testimony of Jesus that saves. So without Jesus, people are dead. So that's their goal. They instead shifted the persecution from the testimony of Jesus that saves and turned this persecution towards Genesis. If people believed that Genesis was not true and what they are saying are true, then eventually they would discredit the whole Bible and eventually they would discredit Jesus' testimony. That's Satan's goal. That's why it is so important for you to be consistent. Be consistent on your belief. Believe that God created Adam from the dust of the ground. Believe that God created this kingdom, this terrarium for us to live on. Believe that aliens are demons that came from heaven. They rebelled against God to create chaos in this earth. Otherwise, you are not being consistent and you are believing on one point or another in their narrative, and this will cost lives. Because if people keep on believing in these lies here, then they will be quickly and surely fall into the trap they are creating after the rapture, which will be the great deception. The great deception has to do with aliens. Aliens will come to bring the world to a better place, to unite the world to another evolution of man, and they will come from another planet. There are no such thing as space as we perceive it, as they showed us in Hollywood movies. There are no such thing as this or other planets that can be habitable. This is not a thing that is possible because this is not a creation thing. It is a fictional thing that Hollywood and Illuminati things that people did. So they will bring this narrative that aliens came from another planet to bring the next point of the human evolution. And that's a whole consistent lie. That's why it's so important for you there that are still watching this video to be consistent on the Bible, on the biblical account of creation, because that will save lives. Eventually, if you or the whole church were able to confirm this model of creation, be sure that a lot of people would understand and would not fall trap into this great deception that they will present after the rapture. If people knew that there is a constructed thing above their heads, that we are living in a terrarium, this is an unprecedented thing that portrays or shows us definitely that we were created by intelligent design. And if we were created by intelligent design, then they would seek the scriptures, the old text that says about this, and eventually they would get into Jesus' testimony and be saved. However, because most people, even watchmen, are believing in this crazy non-reality spinning movements of balls of fire through the nothingness of space because of an explosion, then they can believe that we were created by random chaotic mass, by a random chaotic explosion, and we are billions of years in here and will continue to be billions of years forevermore. That's why they are disconsidering that God exists, and that's why they are falling into their trap. So be consistent on your belief, because that's very important and that can save lives, especially those lives that are for now unbelievers, for those that will be left behind. We have been seeing the sky clock because of this, because we understand that the sky is a whole clock that God created. It's like watching the times, and we just saw in my previous video in English that we are about to reach midnight hour. And it is so strong because although we can just look at the hour and the minutes and the seconds, which are the asteroids that have been discovered by our beloved brothers and sisters believing in the Bible and searching out this matter, there are even more information to discover about this, because we can just open this lid and look at the engines and how this work. And that's what happens here for a lot of people in Portuguese. Most of you guys in English does not know, but there are channels here in Portuguese that go deep within this this model to see how it works, and it's amazing. There are so many revelations in here that I couldn't even start to speak to the English speaking church, because most people are not ready to see how amazing it is, the sky, the engines, the gears, and how this works out, how there's a map available for us to see how the what we call the Milky Way is actually a print out thing in the skies that showed how that was there because of the deluge, because of the flood. The flood, when it entered the earth, caused this defect in the skies, which is called Milky Way now. So there are so many important informations here to be spoken about this, but most people in the English-speaking church is not ready for it. And this channel has about 78,000 subscribers and about 24,000 views here. So there are a lot of people in Portuguese who already understands this, already believe this, and is going deeper and deeper into this study, which is amazing to see. There are much more information that most people in English doesn't even dream about. So just like this is not a salvation issue when you discover the feasts of the Lord, but it's very good information for you to see, perceive, and know God more. This also is not a salvation issue, but is a very important thing for you to understand and perceive. If we have time, we may go deep within this if more people keep on believing in the Bible and not just their narrative. Now, going back here to what I wanted to show you guys, the deal of the century that Trump did, if you add 1,335 days to that, you reach September 23rd, 2023. And that's a very interesting information that we have here. The old machine is about 10 years old, and it's not being able to handle too much things, too much tasks anymore. If we still have more time here, eventually I'll need to change this computer in order for me to keep on doing live streams as I always did. Very, very sorry for this interruption, but let's continue here, and later on, if I can, I'll just edit the video on YouTube in order to the blank spaces there be cut out. So from the deal of the century, if you add 1,335 days, you get to September 23rd, 2023. And that's something that I discovered because I created something called the calendar of events. That is something that I created since 2018. So since 2018, I created something called calendar of events, where I build this calendar, and inside each date, I put links of interesting news that happened on that day that it's prophetic in some way. And I create this since 2018. I'm finishing September now, 2023, but I wanted to see when did the markets crashed back in 2020, when the problem that we know by name now, which it cannot be spoken on YouTube, that problem has started. I remember that the markets crashed. There were many circuit breakers, and because of this news here that just came out, Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, sold $8 billion worth of stocks, and what this could mean for investment. So it seems like he's prepared for a large market crash as well. And if you remember the iPad Go 2 video from YouTube that recently was just pulled out, just like the Georgia Guidestones exploded recently as well. Very interesting facts there. It seems like something is about to happen, because when the war started, when the rapture happened, the sudden destruction is a war, and also the market's crashing. And it seems like Warren Buffett is knowing something that most people are not. That's why he sold $8 billion worth of stock, preparing for the market to crash again. And all of that will change in a single day. Now, I remember that on January 2020, I came here, and then I saw that on the 27th and 28th here of January, that's when the deal of the century was revealed by Trump. And I have some news here from that time frame that showed precisely this. So Trump to Netanyahu have 6 weeks to implement peace plan. Interesting enough, 6 weeks from this January 27, that's when the problem, the virus problem started. So Trump said this. What else? This is in Portuguese. Let me just translate. For you guys. Trump receives Netanyahu and says peace plan makes sense. What else here? This is on the 28th. Netanyahu says that Trump's Middle East plan is path to lasting peace. So this peace plan here, I did the counting from the 27th of January 2020, adding 1,335 days, we get to September 23rd, 2023. Very interesting day. And then I wanted to see, so when the pandemic, oh, I could not have said this. I hope YouTube doesn't take out my video because of this. When the problem started in 2020, which was March 11, that's when it was official declared worldwide problem. That's when the market started to crash the same day. So circuit breaker here on the 11th, also on the 12th, also on the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th, and the 18th as well. They were telling us that dollar could broke on the Passover, but the markets crashed for a whole week there, reaching many circuit breakers. So a market crash happened when they presented this problem officially, and then from this official date of March 11, 2020, If you add 1,290 days, you get to September 22nd, 2023. Very interesting. So just going here, you see that if you go back 1,260 days or 1,290 days, you reach this situation here that it cannot be spoken on YouTube. So our current situation based on this is the following here. If we subtract from September 22nd, 2023, 1,260 days, we reach April 2020. And April 2020, on the calendar here, that's when the Jews had, around the April 10th here, their first Passover on lockdown. So they could not celebrate Passover because they were in lockdown. That's also when Google and Apple started to create the system to track people. So the big tracking device started here in this week of April, the week of the 10th here, of the 5th. 15 volcanoes were into eruption on the 10th here. There was another market crash here. Many things happened here on this week of the Passover in 2020. And that is very interesting because, as I have shown you guys here, from September 2023, going back 1,260 days, we get to the week of Passover there that the Jews cannot celebrate because they were locked down. So the first lockdown that happened because of the problem there, the moment where they were trapped, they were imprisoned, that's when it is 1,260 days from September. Our current situation is this. What are we seeing is a complete convergence of biblical, prophetic, geopolitical, and astronomical events that won't happen again. So basically, on the Jewish Feast of Trumpets, that's when the United Nations will confirm this 7-year deal for the Agenda 2030. And that's on the September 2023. Together with this, we are seeing that on the Virgo, which is the month of Elul, supposed to be the month of the harvest. Elul is called harvest. We're seeing a convergence of asteroids called Child, United Nations, Israel, Laban, Leah, which is the first wife of Israel, Jacob, Yeshua, and many, many other asteroids that our beloved brother Aaron from God a Minute is doing an awesome job in researching the asteroids. I just saw a few videos from him there, and it's simply amazing. It's mind-blowing, all the asteroids that are there in this time frame that we have. So go check God a Minute channel and his latest videos. You will see that there is much more asteroids than those that I'm presenting you guys here. Yeah, they are so many asteroids. There's even one called the Young Bride. There's one called Gabriel. There are many asteroids. There's a dance of asteroids that started even 9 months ago. So amazing things that are happening in the skies right now as we're seeing these asteroids converge into this thing here. What else? Going back 1,335 days, Trump's deal of the century. Going back 1,290 days, the emergency started. 1,260 days, the lockdown Passover. And if we add 1,335 days from this September 2023, we reach Israel's 79th birthday. So the independence of Israel is turning 79 years since their independence in May 14, 1947. In May 14, 1948, all the way until May 14, 2027. That's 79 years. They're interesting. I could not find 1,290 or 1,260 days from this Feast of Trumpets from the Jews, because it is something that didn't happen yet. But basically, we are seeing all of this converging to this time frame, to this next new moon, which by itself would be more than enough information, but we are adding that to our historical situation, that we are seeing that the Jesus birth, death, and resurrection, also with the temple destruction, they all leads to 2030, and subtracting 7 years, 2023 to be the year of the rapture. We're seeing prophetic situation with Daniel 70 weeks, also leads to 2023 as being the year 5993, 7 remaining to the 6,000 millennium. So 2030 would be the 6,000, possibly a Shemitah or possibly a Jubilee year as well. Also 2023 being the year of the rapture. And also geopolitical situation, we're seeing that they are confirming this deal in 2023, that it is Agenda 2030, so 7 more years to this agenda, where basically it's outlined there, the whole government of the beast, where you have nothing, you'll be upgraded by those aliens, those demons, that will try to corrupt your DNA, they will try to make you receive the mark of the beast. They are going to persecute everything that is Jesus related again, so the biggest persecution, biggest slave thing that will happen, people will be slaves, humans will be hackable animals, just like they are saying. So geopolitical situation as well works out, because there are 7 years to 2030. And lastly, here in our chart here, you see that the feast in the 6th month, of which we are, the Jews are calling the 7th month. In this 6th month here, that's the last possible moment for a summer rapture, which has got to be a summer rapture for the church, because there were a spring rapture, there will be a fall rapture. The summer is the last one that is remaining, and it should be the church. So we are expecting the summer rapture. It is the last possible moment for the summer rapture, and it fits perfectly here to the end time frame here as oil and wine related to the church. So in the chart also this has got to be it, because it is the last possible moment for it to happen. So basically we are seeing a convergence of everything that we have been studying so far, and it does not make sense if it all goes past without the rapture happening, because it is so much information, so much asteroids, even geopolitical events pointing to this point in time here, that it has got to be the rapture. I wouldn't even begin to know what to think about it if this go past, because we are too much into this. Those asteroids are like an amazing dance that God is showing in the skies that are unique for this moment, for this time frame, and I wouldn't know how to think if this isn't the case for the rapture. So I'm very sorry for all of this interruption here, for the sound problems. I'll try to fix this on YouTube later. But I hope this video has blessed you. I hope this has given you excitement, knowledge for you to be ready to meet your Lord in the air, because we are very, very close to this moment of time. That's what I want to tell you guys. Maranatha. I hope to see you guys very soon in the kingdom of our beloved God, Jesus Christ. And if we are not raptured by the end of this September, we will have to check to see what happens, because things are bound to be very tough from this point on, because they will go after everything that is against their narrative, and that includes all of us. So be ready, because we might be leaving very soon, and I hope to meet you guys very, very soon in the air. Amen. Maranatha. God bless each and every one of you. Maranatha.